Welcome, everybody. It's 11:39 on Thursday, November 2nd. Welcome to the board meeting of the Environmental Facilities Corporation. Kate, could I have a roll, please?
Certainly. Chair Stefanko.
Here.
Director Westerman.
Present.
Director Leary.
Here.
We do not yet have Director Corcoran. Director DeMarquis.
Here.
Director Krasansky.
Here.
And Director Zarofsky.
I'm here.
We have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. First item of business is approval of the draft minutes from the October 5th board meeting. All members were present. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Charlie. Any discussion? Excellent. All those in favor of approval of the draft minutes? Aye.
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 Okay, unanimous. Report of the chair. I have nothing specific to report other than Mike and Maureen are going to mention some details related to a bond buyer award.
That Maureen was awarded.
Maureen was, okay, well, Mike's
Want to do that now?
on my,
Maureen was nominated for the Frida Johnson Trailblazing Women in Public Finance Award, which will be on December 5th in New York City. It's a pretty prestigious award, and we're very proud of her for the nomination and what she does.
that's great.
Just want to give you guys a heads up. Good news is always good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's great news. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that.
Okay, so other stuff on the agenda. We'll talk about, we priced Monday and Tuesday, and I'll turn it over to Brian and Emily to talk about that.
Yep, so basically the Series 2023C, we sold 86 million in bonds. We got 255 million in orders. So that's about 3 times what we had out there. That 86 million will be combined with 75 million in equity to total 165 million of funding for 21 recipients. And over the course of the 30 years, that will end up being 57 million in subsidy savings. Brian, did you want to go into more details?
As Emily said, we had $255 million worth of orders on that. However, the last 2 maturities were as normal, the hardest to sell. And the last maturity was a $19 million maturity. We only had $7.5 million worth of orders for that maturity. Not uncommon. For the front end of the curve, because of the orders for the first 25 years, we are able to adjust our yields down anywhere from 3 to 9 basis points, saving the borrowers on that because of the oversubscription. With the long maturity, the underwriter asked for a small adjustment in yield and under $11 million worth of bonds. That was at, I think, 12:30 we met on that. We got a report by the end of the day, they had sold all but $920,000 worth of the bonds with that small maturity. They got one investor to come in. As soon as that investor came in, it was one of the bigger names, Vanguard. As soon as they came in, everybody else felt more comfortable buying the bonds, By yesterday morning, when we talked to them, they had worked all the bonds off. So the underwriter was whole on that, and they worked them off at the offering price. The deal had a TIC of 4.6958, which is higher than what we've seen recently. Obviously, we had gone through some very low rates, but we went back and we looked at the yields from 98 to right now, and the median yield for the TIC is about a 4.16. So pretty much in line with that. And that's, Mike, you're asking, that's 97 SRFTs.
Wow. So we're kind of we were in such a low interest rate environment, we're back kind of more
Correct.
closer to the mean.
Yep. So, any questions on that? We can have a lot more detail if you want it.
I think it's really good we do the retail on Monday
Yes.
and then can see how oversubscribed we are and what maturities and then adjust for the
Yeah.
institutional.
That's a good point.
Tuesday.
We do a 2-day order period, and the first day is for retail. One thing that we're seeing now with the rates up higher is what we call mom and pop retail. We're seeing orders for 25 bonds, $25,000, which we weren't seeing when the rates were, nobody wanted to put their money to work when you're making any money on it. So, I don't know what the final numbers are yet, of how much individual retail we had in there, but I'm pretty sure it was between $5 and $10 million. So
Closing is December 5th.
closing is December. So we're working on getting all of the reports out to the recipients, so they can get their bonds in, and that's, legal folks. It's their time to run.
And Albert will, it went out with the board materials, just a brief discussion on the budget and financial plan, draft budget.
So as Maureen said, the draft budget and financial plan went out with board materials and is now posted to our website, covering the current fiscal year through fiscal years 27, 28. We're looking good. We're positive in all funds across all years, which is exactly what you want. And we'll go into a much more detailed discussion at audit committee next month. But if there are questions in the interim, feel free.
Great. And Charlie, and I think the board last meeting had asked for an update on the IUPs and what, the big changes, if there were any, to our IUPs. So, and we provided electronic copy to everybody. If anybody wants a hard copy when they're printed, we can get them to you. But I'll let Dave start off with a discussion briefly of the drinking water IUP.
Okay, yep, so our final fiscal year 24 IUP is on our website currently. If anyone needs an electronic copy directly, just let me know. We also have hard copies.
I gave him a link.
Okay, great. So the IUP includes the base cap grant, which is based on information we had at the time, we did our best to estimate $10 million, which is a lot lower than it's been because we just don't know what Congress is going to do. Includes the Bill GS and Bill EC cap grants for fiscal year 23. So the Bill GS is 98 million, the Bill EC is 35 million. The lead service line money will be addressed in an upcoming, hopefully soon, amendment similar to what we did last year. We're hoping to get that out by the end of this calendar year, at least in draft form. So the total funding capacity is 461 million. That sets our hardship eligibility line a little higher, 5 points higher than last year at 100 points. And we're keeping the subsidized interest rate line at 70, which is the same as last year. So we're expecting to award 2.6 million approximately in grants from the base program, 48 million plus or minus from Bill GS, and 32 million for Bill EC. And as far as new initiatives, we have language in there regarding the A&E procurement requirements, the new signage requirements. And the kind of big one is a new equivalency incentive that we've just started this year. So and we're going to need, we expect that we're going to need more projects to meet our equivalency requirements to cover not only the base cap grant, which we've done historically, but also the Bill GS cap grant. And we're the New York City Croton project that we've used for many, many years up until now is finally done. So we're trying to get some more projects in the pipeline. So we have this incentive where larger dollar amount projects, we're starting with above 30 million. At our discretion, we will be reaching out to those projects and to gauge interest. And if they, those projects that are below our subsidized rate line, if they will meet the requirements for equivalency and actually are going to come in for funding, then we can give them the subsidized interest rate as an incentive to meet those equivalency requirements. And we'll be reaching out to a handful of projects to gauge interest very soon. That's about it.
So we didn't have, a lot of the big changes we discussed last year because they were related to Bill, the new requirements, a big one being Build America, Buy America, which we're still implementing because there was a waiver for folks who had already done their engineering reports. So folks are off the hook for now on that. But for us, big news this year is that we have no subsidy lines in categories A, B, and D. So anyone who moves forward this year will get subsidized financing. Usually, you have to score above the subsidy line to be able to move forward with subsidized financing. So that it's really good news. Hopefully, we're going to see an uptick in folks coming in and not waiting, hoping they get a subsidy. The reason we are able to do that is that New York City didn't close on any financing last year. They're still haven't come in to access all of the $630 million that was made available to them in 2022, and they haven't accessed any of the $360 million that was made available to them for 2023. So the 2023 money was rolled over and split between the categories, so it gave us extra money. And then, of course, the additional bill money that we're getting. The problem is because of, and Dave mentioned it, the budget not being passed and the significant amount of earmarks, we actually, for the clean water, took a conservative approach, because if they actually enacted all of the earmarks in both the Senate and the House that they spoke about, there would be no base capitalization.
None.
Zero.
Zero. There'd be negative. So we actually put zero in our calculations for a 2024 cap grant. So then things can only get better. So hopefully when the dust settles, whenever that might be, we will have additional money available.
You're saying if all the earmarked money, all the projects actually worked through the system and got funded, you'd have
There'd be
less
no
than
base.
zero or zero.
Yeah, there'd be no base
of the
capitalization
base
grant.
capital grant.
Yeah.
And what was the base capital grant amount?
Oh, what would it be? I mean, it's been 170 million.
It's been 170 million. It'll be
for
zero.
clean water. It'll be zero if we don't get anything.
And that you'll see in our sources and uses in the
Yes.
IUP.
So on page, I just pulled it up.
Table A. page
Um,
19.
So that means right now, we also have no money allocated to GIGP. But that hopefully will change. We can do an amendment to add money for GIGP if we get a capitalization grant. Because the GIGP has to come from money that's made available for additional subsidization from the cap grant. We don't have any, and we wanted to use the bill additional subsidization money for the purposes for which bill was enacted. So we're using that for infrastructure.
So to know what the earmarks could be, sort of what's in process.
There's a proposed
You
list
have all that
in
list.
both the House and the Senate.
You have that total list.
Yes.
Happy to share it.
No, I wish we could change it. I mean, the problem is
We
we're
can't.
killing it, they're killing it.
Yeah, no one, we have raised it, obviously with the New York delegation, but they don't want to not take their share when everybody else is taking, so.
The other SRFs too, because our at pricing RFA, we had this conversation, and they're doing a report right now for 2 other states that they work with to get them to raise it through everybody. Don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
but
But thankfully, we've
it's on
been
people's radar.
we've been the largest program, right?
I know.
So the recycling dollars are
Right.
what, you know,
Can keep us going.
are generally used to fund most of our projects.
So we have the most to lose. No, look at it that way. We have the most to lose.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a weird argument to make that without the capitalization dollars, that's a bad thing, right? We don't have any dollars. And yet this is the first year we've been able to go, at least since I've been here, with no subsidy lines. So it's a little incongruous, but yeah, if it continues that way, bill dollars run out in a couple of years. And if they continue to take earmarks, well, you know, we'll have no cap grants. So that's not a good thing. But everybody has been made aware of that. There's been testimony in front of Congress. So I don't think there's anything more we can do.
But you'll see, you know, one of our sources is repayments in
Right.
2023, 2024, and that's 541 million.
Right.
So larger than the cap grant. So thankfully,
Right.
we have a mature program with a lot of loans
Right.
revolving.
Right.
Yeah, and we have looked at that if we never, because it was
Yeah.
intended, right? That you never, if the capitalization grants stopped after the beginning of the program, you're supposed to be able to continue on, which we could, but certainly at a much lower level.
Mhm.
So, and there's, no matter how much money we have, there's obviously, like, in both drinking water, much more need.
The
than
Clean
what we
Water
have
said
left.
for every dollar we lose in the cap grant goes to it's $2.41 over of capacity
That's right.
over a 30-year
Right.
period.
Makes sense.
Because, and bill is a lot of extra money, but 49% exactly of the general supplemental, and then emerging contaminants is 100%.
Right.
But has to be 49% has to be given out in grants or principal forgiveness too. So that's lost forever. It's great when it was extra money, but now it's not extra money. If we're not going to get a cap grant.
Right.
So that's unfortunate.
Madam President, I just wanted to note for the record that Director Corcoran has
Yes,
joined us.
I noticed. I was going to say hi. And then really, I think the only policy change we made was for plans and specifications. We need them to be submitted 60 days prior to bid. Last year, we tried to do something and say they had to be approved before you went to bid. And there was concern that, you know, if we didn't approve them between EFC and DEC, that would be a holdup and that would be a problem. So now it's like you need to submit them for 60 days ahead. And by then, hopefully they'll be approved, or at least most of the comments will be.
That's the intention is, you know, the goal of having them approved, but at least get the majority of the comments addressed. This is also largely driven by our program requirements. We have a terms and conditions document that's required to be in all the construction contracts. And there are different terms and condition documents based on what the source of funding is, whether it's just federal funding or just state funding. So we want to ensure that the correct document is in the contract documents when the bidders are bidding on these projects, so everybody's on the same playing field. You know, and Build America, Buy America is a new requirement that will be coming. As Maureen said, our projects are waived from that at present, but we will be getting into new projects. They'll need to comply with that. So this requirement will, you know, hopefully allow us to have projects in a better place when they go out to bid.
Let me just ask sort of a question unrelated to these things, but I'm just interested. We haven't talked a lot about like the prices, inflation on the materials. There was a huge problem a while back. Has that calmed down, settled down? What you see? Not really.
Calm down, or are we
No.
Is it
grown
still
accustomed to it? There are
still driving?
I've grown accustomed to it.
There are
It's
certain-
down.
Still driving prices.
Yeah, there are certain items,
Yeah.
electrical equipment
Right.
that has very long lead times,
Yeah.
potentially over a year. And I've heard that's related actually to the war in Ukraine as a source of materials that.
And long lead times makes it
Long
worse for
lead
the
times,
other
right.
prices. So it's a shame too, when all this extra money is
Right,
out
it's
there, a
available.
lot of
Yeah.
it's going
That's right.
to increase prices
There
because.
can also be
Yeah.
more projects on the street.
Right.
Contractors are.
Yeah.
not
More-
hungry,
yeah.
prices
Supply and
go up
demand.
As well, and
Yeah.
finding labor.
Yeah, and we've worked to have them address that through contingency amounts, right? So 5 years ago, 5% contingency was okay.
Not enough. Yeah.
We're kind of pressing them on that to really identify the appropriate level of contingency.
It's not a good thing if you've got an estimated total cost by your engineer that's falls far short, because the community's not prepared for it. Maybe they don't want to go to the community and get, a bond resolution that's 30 million, but it's better than getting a $10 million one and then having to come back and increase it. So unfortunately, you're seeing that we're still coming in with amendments. We're trying, but we're kind of following
Thanks.
Yep, and then the hardship policy, we've now amended that to include DAX, the CLCPA definition, and communities that are disadvantaged communities under CLCPA. So not just potential environmental justice areas, but DAX. And we will talk I said that already, but next month, I think about hardship and how we determine affordability. Directors were asking for that. And then public comments, we didn't get anything that changed policy. They were just kind of, most of them were project specific. Look at again, change my score. Why am I not on the annual list? Because you didn't submit an application or an engineering report, and then, or an application in time for a while, so you're not on it at all. And then a couple of comments that we addressed in the IUP. So that's it on the IUP. One last thing. Several of us are going to Oklahoma City next week for their annual SRF workshop and state EPA work group. I'm on the board for EPA Region 2 of CEFA, Council of Infrastructure Financing Authorities, and Bill is on, he's a member of the working group. So it's always a good experience. They have a meeting every year in DC, and then in November, their workshop is, goes around the country. And EFC will be presenting on 3 topics, actually. CATS, or technical assistance. Bill will be speaking about asset management, and I'll be talking about clean water, emerging contaminants, and how we worked with DEC to get the pipeline of those projects.
Good.
Yeah, so that's great because it's all SRFs from all the states, EPA officials, and it's really a good learning experience.
Excellent.
Yeah. And we get to show off what we're doing.
Well, thank you for your follow-up on those items, Maureen. Appreciate that update. And that sounds great next week. That's all these different perspectives can only be helpful.
It is. It's amazing how different all of the SRFs are. What some communities are, or states are so tiny in the entire state.
Yeah.
Their money they get, like $1 million project. They're like, we had $1 million project, and it's so huge. And it's like, wow, we have the smallest communities in New York State do, $3 million projects. But it's interesting. You learn stuff, talking to everybody. And it's definitely a good. And on Sunday, so we have to go, we're going for the weekend. But on Sunday, there's a discussion with all of the SRFs about if you were starting the SRF from scratch, kind of what changes would you do? So I think that will, I told everyone they have to get on the plane at 6 a.m. to get there on Sunday to make that discussion. And we're going to talk about that, which I think is, will be very interesting.
Interesting question.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you for that report. Okay. No committees this month, and we currently have no unfinished business, so we'll move right to resolutions. Resolution number 1.
A resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation making certain determinations and authorizing certain actions in connection with the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund and authorizing financial assistance payments to certain municipalities to fund eligible drinking water projects from funds appropriated for water infrastructure improvement projects.
Thank you, Kate. Could I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Christine.
I'll second today.
Francis also has this. We'll give Francis and Vita a split second on that one. Dave Phillips will be presented.
Okay, thank you. First project is for the city of Auburn in Cayuga County. This is for a WIA grant. This project is for a comprehensive rehabilitation of the city's two water filtration plants. They have a slow sand and a rapid sand plant. Some of the buildings at these plants are over 100 years old. The upgrades include filter media, piping, valves, chemical feed systems, building, structural, HVAC, electrical, lighting, and process controls. And this project will modernize both aged plants. It will improve operator safety and improve plant functionality to ensure that they're meeting current drinking water standards. Next one is Cuba, Village of Cuba in Allegheny County. This is for a WIA grant and a short-term market rate financing. The project includes upgrades to the existing well source. The work includes new chlorine contact piping to ensure proper disinfection, upgrades to chemical feed systems, treatment building structural, pumps, motors, a new natural gas emergency generator, and upgrades to the SCADA system. The project also includes replacement of 24,000 linear feet of aged water mains and replacement of all the service meters in the system. And it includes upgrades to the storage tank, which will be new level controls and monitoring equipment. The next project is for the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority. This is for a long-term interest-free financing. This project includes upgrades throughout the village of Tivoli, which is owned and operated by the Water Authority. The work includes replacement of 7,400 linear feet of aged water main, much of which is 90 plus years old and experienced excessive leakage and is undersized. Includes a new storage tank to replace an existing 90 plus year old tank. And it will include redevelopment of the existing groundwater wells in order to regain lost capacity, rehab of well houses, and replacement of the well pumps. It also includes a new system-wide SCADA system, which will automate monitoring and controls of all the sources, treatment, and storage throughout the system. Next project is for the Green Lawn Water District in Suffolk County. This is a WIA grant. This is a new advanced oxidation process, or AOP, treatment system to remove 1,4-dioxane from the district's well number 8. And the next one is for the town of Lewisboro, Westchester County. This is for an EC WIA grant and a short-term market rate financing. This is for a new granular activated carbon, or GAC system, to remove PFOA and PFOS from the 5 wells which are located at the town's Oak Ridge Water District treatment site. The next project is for the village of Pauling in Dutchess County. This is a WIA grant, as well as a short-term interest-free and short-term market rate financing. This project is for development of 5 new wells in the lower Baxter well field, a new treatment facility to treat those wells, and they will also treat the unshide wells, which are existing, and includes new piping to connect these new wells into the distribution system. This project will address inadequate source capacity that the village has experienced in recent years, especially in the summer and fall of 2020, when the village was unable to meet their demands and was forced to use emergency sources and also truck in bulk water. The next project is in the South Huntington Water District in Suffolk County. This is for an EC WIA grant. This is a new AOP system to remove 1,4-dioxane and upgrades to the existing GAC system, which involves replacing the existing vessels with new larger vessels which will remove PFOA and PFOS. And this is at the Water District's well number 8 site. And then the final project is the town of Stafford, Genesee County. This is for a WIA grant. This project is for creation of a new water district number 12, which will serve 78 residences currently on private wells that experience poor water quality and insufficient capacity. The project includes installation of 30,000 linear feet of new water main and a connection to the Monroe County Water Authority. Questions on any of those?
There's no, we've talked about earmark, the Cuba one has an earmark, see that? Sort of like, and there's not really nothing we can do about it. Like you said, people, they're aware of it. And there are a lot more coming, it sounds like.
The interesting thing, Charlie, we were talking about earlier, equivalency, Dave was talking about it essentially makes them an equivalent project because it's directly
Right.
federally funded.
Exactly.
So they have additional requirements
Right.
they have to meet in order to take that
Which
money.
they might not if they were just taking the SRF,
Yeah.
because the recycled dollars don't have to meet equivalency. So, and just the coordination with EPA and the financing and getting
Yeah,
the,
you'll be
getting
seeing
the
more.
EPA, getting the, because they're really just kind of getting up to speed
Yeah.
on getting the earmarks
Sure.
out the door. They did 7, I think, this past year.
Years ago, when they had earmarks,
Mhm.
were these ever earmarked? Or this is a new thing, totally new?
There were Bill or
There were
Brian.
earmarks.
That was-
Previously, when they did earmark,
Yeah.
it was done separate and
Right.
apart from the SRF
Not of this,
allocation.
never from this.
Right, the way they're doing it now is
Right.
in order to
It's a new
show
thing.
that they're not spending more money,
Yep,
they're
yep.
taking the SRF allocation and pulling out the earmarks. And then
And
what's left is split amongst the states,
I
which,
get
as
it.
Maureen said, may be 0.
Grants, right? So they're not revolving.
Interesting.
And they don't come with set asides for the staff to review the plans.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge
Sure, no, okay.
or to process all the funding.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned the requirements will increase, I'm guessing reporting and everything on the locality, correct?
Yeah.
Well, yes, and they have to comply, if it's equivalency, it now makes it equivalency, they have to comply with BABA, they have to comply with,
Have we ever seen a municipality choose
not to take the.
not to take the earmark?
I don't think
and
they
go
know
through the
enough
regular-
yet.
I don't, yeah,
Not yet.
I don't
No.
think they know enough yet.
Yeah.
and they're,
To get there.
Only a couple years into this.
and
there's still
procurement, yeah,
it all going. Ones that were
They-
awarded 2 years ago, are those the ones we're getting in now?
Yeah, they get a letter, which is great news. Now we get
they
into
don't know
what the
what that
strings are,
means.
right?
Mhm, yeah.
Interesting.
And there's no environmental impact review on the projects. So we don't know how there's no scoring of projects like us. We go down to the score.
Right,
Yeah, sure,
This could be a very low scoring.
correct.
oh, yeah, and,
Exactly right.
and actually,
So-
one congressman reached out and said, well, which ones aren't going to
Right,
get
we want to
funded?
help one that's not getting
Right,
funded.
which you can kind of see, but then the reason they're not getting funded is
They're not
because
funded.
they're low on the list.
Yeah.
Totally.
So
I-
I
Yeah,
can
it's taking money
see,
from the guys on the
Sure.
higher
Totally.
list.
Yeah.
Courses.
but, so I can see both sides of
Yeah.
it, but,
Ah,
yeah.
Good times. Okay, anything further? Excellent. Okay, all those in favor of ID number 1? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. ID number 2.
A resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation amending prior authorizations for financial assistance to be provided by the corporation to certain recipients in connection with the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund.
Kate, could I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll motion. Or second.
James and Christine with the motion and a second, thank you. Rebecca Walker will be presenting.
The first project is for the town of Cheektowaga in Erie County. This is a sanitary sewer rehabilitation project to reduce inflow and infiltration and mitigate SSOs. We are seeking authorization to extend the maturity date 18 months to June of 2025. project was designed to be done in several phases, focusing on sewer lining and manhole rehabilitation throughout different sewer sheds in the town. The additional time is needed to complete the final phase of the project, which is sewer shed 4. Due to delays in bidding, which was just completed this summer, the anticipated completion date is now December 31st, 2024. The town also asked for additional time to submit final construction paperwork and properly document all costs. Next project is the town of Crown Point in Essex County. This project includes the planning, design, and construction of a replacement wastewater treatment plant and sanitary sewer rehabilitation. We are seeking authorization for a funding increase of roughly $1.9 million, a 1-year maturity extension, and a modification of the project scope. This financing is being amended due to a change to the town's speedies permit. After closing their financing in 2019, the town was notified that their permit would be modified to include a 1 milligram per liter phosphorus limit. This limit required the town to shift from relocating the existing water treatment plant to an adjacent property to replacing the plant with a sequencing batch reactor. As a result, the work has now been split into 2 phases. This phase will fund the rehabilitation of 4 pump stations and the installation of UV disinfection at the existing plant to meet the order on consent, with the remaining work now being done in a second phase. With a reduced scope, project costs for this phase have gone down. Additional funds are being requested to pre-finance 3 outside grants. And the redesign also led to the need for additional time to complete the project. And the last project is for the Village of Ocean Beach in Suffolk County. This project includes sanitary sewer replacement and installation of a separate stormwater collection and treatment system for the village's north end to help mitigate flooding and develop resiliency. We're seeking authorization for a funding increase of approximately $1.3 million and an extension of the maturity date for 1 year to December 2024 to allow for construction completion and the finalization of total project costs. The village was delayed when construction bids came in higher than anticipated, and the village had to pass a new bond resolution to increase maximum project costs from $12.5 million to $14.5 million. The funding increase we're seeking approval for today is less than that because roughly $700,000 of that $2 million increase will be absorbed by grant, as the village will now be able to maximize the size of their WIA award. Any questions?
Great. Thank you, Rebecca. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So good.
That was unanimous as well. Resolution number 3.
Resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation making certain determinations and authorizing certain actions in connection with the Clean Water State Revolving Fund and authorizing financial assistance payments to certain municipalities to fund eligible clean water projects from funds appropriated for water infrastructure improvement projects.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Charlie. But a second. Thank you, James. Bill Brazell will present.
All right, good afternoon. Today we have 8 clean water projects before the board for financings. First is the village of Cooperstown in Otsego County. Requested authorization is for approximately $3.7 million. This project improved or upgraded several components in Cooperstown's 500,000 gallon per day wastewater treatment plant. The upgrades will not only replace equipment that was past its useful life, but will also allow the facility to meet new nitrogen and phosphorus limits that will go into effect in 2025. The more stringent limits are due to Chesapeake Bay requirements. This project was supported with an engineering planning grant that was awarded back in 2012. Next, we have the village of Coxsackie in Greene County. Requested authorization is approximately $5.2 million. The village of Coxsackie owns and operates a wastewater treatment plant and collection system that were previously permitted to discharge 1.25 million gallons per day. And had an issue with inflow and infiltration in the collection system, and as a result, sanitary sewer overflows. This work increased the capacity of the treatment plant from 1.25 MGD to 1.5 million gallons per day. And this project also benefits a potential environmental justice area and disadvantaged community. Construction was completed in 2022, and the project was supported with an engineering planning grant from 2013. Next, we have another long-term financing. This for the Village of Homer in Portland County. The request before the board is for just over $500,000 in long-term interest-free financing. Village of Homer owns and maintains a sanitary sewer collection system that serves the entire village. They were experiencing high levels of inflow and infiltration during wet weather events, and this project rehabilitated the collection system. Rehabilitation of manholes, approximately 1,500 linear feet of sewer was rehabilitated, and replacement of 34 manhole frames and covers. Project serves a potential environmental justice area as well, and was supported with an engineering planning grant awarded in 2014. Next is another long-term financing. This for the city of Kingston and Ulster County. The requested financing is for approximately $1.8 million. Project was for some miscellaneous improvements at the wastewater treatment plant. It's included replacing 2 older emergency generators with 1 newer, more efficient generator, replacement of several building roofs that were failing, and some new aeration blowers. This project also benefits an environmental justice area and disadvantaged community, and construction is expected to be complete later this month. Next, we have a short-term financing. This for Nassau County. The requested financing is for $66.6 million, half interest-free and half of it as market rate, short-term market rate financing. This financing is part of the overall $500 million Bay Park conveyance project that will divert flow from the Bay Park wastewater treatment plant to Cedar Creek wastewater treatment plant. Construction is well underway on this project and is expected to be completed in August of 2024. Next, we have another new short-term financing that's for the town of Newfield. Newfield in Thompson County. The financing includes a $552,000 interest-free financing, $378,000 market rate financing, and $184,000 WIA grant. Town of Newfield owns and operates a sanitary sewer system and a 0.3 million gallon per day wastewater treatment plant. Small facility serves 170 connections. Newfield has a septic tank effluent collection system. It's a bit different than what we normally see. With this project, they're going to install manholes in their system. The collection system currently does not include manholes. This will allow them to address I&I issues in the collection system. The project was supported with an engineering planning grant from 2018. Construction is expected to be completed next June. Next, we have the village, long-term financing for the village of Oakfield in Genesee County. Requested authorization is approximately $1.5 million, long-term interest-free financing. Village of Oakfield owns and operates a collection system and a 500,000 gallon per day wastewater treatment plant. Work at this facility was broken into 2 phases. They did some upgrade of miscellaneous equipment at the wastewater treatment plant, and in the second phase, they added ultraviolet disinfection system that was required by DEC. Project was supported with an engineering planning grant awarded in 2013, and construction was completed this past August. Finally, we have a long-term financing for the city of Tonawanda in Erie County. Requested financing is approximately $3.1 million, interest-free financing. This financing is the last phase of a $21.2 million project required by a DEC consent order from 2009. During wet weather events, the city was having sanitary sewer overflows at up to 18 locations throughout the city. The work was divided into 10 phases, and this financing will does cover phases 7 through 10. Project consisted of sewer replacement, sewer lining, and manhole rehabilitation. Project was supported by engineering planning grants awarded in 2015 and 2019. Additionally, the project serves a potential environmental justice area and a disadvantaged community. Construction is expected to be completed later this month. Any questions on these projects?
I was just going to comment and commend on the complexity of the stacked funding sources on the Bay Park Conveyance Project and how much went into that. And thank you for showing the authorization under the other project numbers, but just commenting on how complex that funding was to get that project done.
And a long-term piece in the
long-term piece in the pool that we just did.
Yeah, that's right. Good.
Project.
Yeah.
Anything further on that one? ID number 3? Excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful. Unanimous. Okay, that concludes our resolutions. Does anyone have any new business they want to raise? Wonderful. Before we adjourn, just congratulations again to Maureen on the Bond Buyer Award. Hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. See you in December, I guess. Crazy as that sounds. Next meeting is December 7th, Thursday, 11:30. Audit committee is at 11. I'll take a motion in a second for adjournment.
Second.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you, James. I think Adam as well. All those in favor of adjournment? Aye.
A great holiday.
Holiday.
Everyone. Thanks for everything.